Hi guys, Rudo here. Welcome to my YouTube channel and Happy New Year to you. Super excited for 2021, what he has in store for us, even though we're under strict lockdown rules, tier 4 here. But anyway, I'm super excited because I have something new I want to try out with reviewing African literature, and I'll announce it in the coming weeks because that's when I'm going to start it, but super excited about that. And today I'm going to be reviewing the book Children of Bone and Blood by Tomi Adeyemi. So Tomi Adeyemi is a Nigerian writer based in the USA, and this is actually her debut novel, and there's actually a sequel for it called Children of Virtue and Vengeance, which I haven't read yet, but as soon as I do, of course, I'm going to review it, and I'm going to attach the link to this one so that you can see both videos and understand what goes on, because apparently the second book is like set 3 weeks after the first one ends, so it's kind of like a continuation and you won't miss much. Yeah, and just to give you guys a heads up, I have a terrible cold which I'm fighting, so if I'm a bit off or weird, please try to understand. I'm heavily dosed at the moment, but yeah, anyway, so just to give you a quick recap, I'm going to try not to ruin the book or have any spoilers, but it's been out for like in 2021, so almost 3 years now, but I'll try to like limit what I'm going to say for those who have only heard about it today and who want to read the book. So if you're a fan of Avatar, the Last Airbender, the one with, that one, sorry, I know a lot about Avatar, but it's just my head is just anyway, if you're a fan of Avatar, you definitely love this one because it has 10 different clans. In Avatar, I think there are 4. There's the fire, the air, the water, and the earth. With this one, there are like 10 different clans. So if you're someone who loves fantasy, because this is a young adult book, so mostly if someone is around their teenage years, they'll probably enjoy this. And yeah, you probably enjoy it if you're an adult. And with this book, what happens is there is a girl called Zele, and Zele, she's a very ambitious, very strong-headed, and what you'd call defiant, right? So she is a magi. These are people who have the potential to have powers, but because magic was banished in the kingdom, they don't have a way to revive the magic because it was killed or disappeared like a long time ago. And in this book, Zele, her mother, she's the one who had powers, but her dad did not. So she also has a brother. Her brother, he does not have any power. His name is Zane. And through this book, you go through where they have to recover magic, but how she gets there is because she ends up meeting Amari. She's the princess of the kingdom, and she has this scroll, the scroll which has to do with reviving magic. And then they meet and they have this hate relationship because obviously Zele's mother was killed by the king, and Amari, she's trying to redeem herself, or rather she's feeling very remorseful after she lost a friend who was also a magi, who was killed by her father. So she's like trying to help bring back magic and also to like try and redeem a friend who died. So throughout the book, you kind of see like they have this relationship where they hate each other. You can actually feel the tension because Zele, she really gives Amari the cold shoulder, which I would understand. If someone were to kill my mother and then like their child tries to I would have mixed feelings about it. I don't even think I'll be able to like accommodate, being the Christian that I am. It'll take time. But anyway, so as you go through the book, you kind of see like the journey where they go to different places where they have to retrieve certain things to bring back magic, and they visit so many places, so you have to like be alert. But the book is told in different people's perspectives. So there's Amari, who is the princess, there's Inan, who's a brother, and then there's Zele. I think those are the only 3 people who actually have something to say in the book. And you kind of see how they go through day by day, how they visit different towns, different cities, and you kind of see the living conditions, you know, of the different people. And then they end up meeting other people who also have magic, and in that they try to retrieve the magic. But then Inan, he supposedly is a magi, as much as he hates magic because of what his father has said. His father, that's King Saran, who's King Saran, who is Inan and Amari's father. His first family was killed by the Magis, so he's vengeful. He wants to revenge, so that's the reason why he ended up banishing magic. So Inan, he's also inherited that hate from his father, but he's struggling because he too has the potential to have magic, or he's also a magi, but he didn't know. And I think I'm yet to, maybe it's revealed in the next book, but I'm not really sure how he ended up having, well actually yes, it's because the gods, they would choose at random who ends up, you know, being a magi and stuff. So yeah, pretty sure that's how he got it. Anyway, so Inan, he ends up pursuing his sister, trying to retrieve the scroll, which the Magis are not supposed to have, because it actually ends up reviving magic. So he ends up pursuing his sister, and also Zele, because Zele, she's the one who has the scroll, including Amari. Amari, she doesn't want to go back home because her father is he was a very, very compelling character, to be honest. He was very, how do I say this? If you've read Purple Hibiscus, he kind of has that character that he was like, he ruled with an iron fist. But because this is fantasy, obviously they're quite different, because with this one, you would make his children, like Inan and Amari, they would have to fight each other, and not just fight like, you know, oh, you know, like slapping. They would use swords and they would literally like slash each other. That's how in his way, that's how he was training them to be strong. So he was a very removed father. He was present, but emotionally he wasn't there for his children. He was so cold, and even if they made a mistake, he was not as forgiving, because that's why he ended up sending Inan to pursue his sister, because it already trained him, you know, to fight her, because they fought before, and Amari had a huge scar on her back, and it ended up scarring her brother. So even the siblings themselves, their relationship was not very good. Anyway, so as they go on, Inan pursues Zele, and because he's also a magi, kind of like ends up connecting with her, because his superpower was more to do with the mind. Like, he would connect with someone in the mind, he would see what they're seeing, he would sense them, and he had this power of vision. Yeah, he had the power of vision. So that's how he ended up, you know, connecting with them, and also being able to trace where they are, because he could smell Zele, like the strong scent of the ocean, because she used to live by the ocean. So that's how he would sense her, and he was in pursuit of, and he hated her. But you know, they kind of had this love-hate relationship, which I think it's kind of like, you know, in high school, I think like there were this kind of things, like if a guy doesn't like you, he likes you, that kind of thing. But with this, it was intense hate at the beginning, and then he ends up falling in love. He ends up falling in love with her, but I don't know, it could be because I'm very naive, because I actually thought he really liked Zele, but at the end he betrays her. So that could be me just being naive, because I'm a super hopeless romantic. But I think he did, but obviously because of his father, he couldn't really be completely there. Because he was the next king, so he had to act in the best interest of his kingdom. So I think that's something that really drew him back. But I kind of like that, you know, like I said, I'm a hopeless romantic, but I kind of like that thing of, you know, coming from a place of hate, going to a, you know, finding out that you love someone, having this intense emotion, that kind of thing. And this is why I think it's really great for like people, for like teenagers. So if you have nieces and nephews who like reading, you can definitely buy them this book as a present or just something to start reading, you know, just to get them into reading fantasy, because I think fantasy might be in my top 3 of my favorite genres at this moment. I really enjoyed this book, and I'm looking forward to reading the next one. And it also in the book, as always, different topics which are brought out. Like what I said, the author wrote this book because of the police brutality which was happening. She lives in America, so you know what we've been seeing on the news, it actually like encouraged her to, it fueled her to write this book. So you can actually see the police brutality, how they were handling the Magis in the book. You can actually relate to what you've read, or for some who have actually experienced it. And there's also love. There wasn't so much of religion because obviously it's magic, but you can tell, well, actually magic can be a religion, right? I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but anyway, you can actually see how they became to believe that, you know, the gods had always been there for them, even though they had been quiet. So there's also that theme of believing, just like in the Avatar at the end, when, you know, he was the last airbender and then he had to believe and then he had to visit all these places. So it's more like that, but with this one it's actually set in Nigeria, in the Orisha kingdom. And I like how the writer, she actually evokes your emotions by smell. She would say, oh, you could smell the jollof rice, you could smell the plantain, you could see this, you know, in the marketplace. You know, you can also see the commotion in the marketplace. And with African literature, obviously, like for example, I'm Zimbabwean, so you wouldn't necessarily smell jollof rice, but you definitely smell sadza and, you know, meat and vegetables. So for me, I can actually like kind of picture it, you know, smelling sadza and veggies in the marketplace, and also the commotion of in the marketplace. For example, there's a place called Mbare in Zimbabwe. There's a lot of commotion there. So that for me, that's what I was picturing. And as I always say with African literature, regardless of which country you're in, you can always relate, because we kind of have similar things regardless of which African countries you come from. I'm sure every single African country in Africa has a marketplace which is super busy, so you kind of got that feeling. And I also liked how she portrayed vengeance, because obviously King Saran, where he was coming from, he was revenging because of his family, and you can see that as much as he saw evil, there was something that happened to him which actually led him to do the same. And also with Sele, because now she's revenging her mother who died, and who was killed rather. She was killed by the king and his guards and his soldiers. So she's actually in the process of discovering herself, you know, teenage love, having to bring, you know, magic back to the kingdom, which is like something which is super big. And she has this huge responsibility, and also herself as a defiant. She doesn't always do things, you know, as expected. She kind of has a mind of her own, which is not bad at all, but it kind of shows you how human she is, how she makes mistakes, how she redeems herself. And I found that to be very exciting. So I would highly recommend this book. Obviously I'm going to read the second one, super excited to start it. And when I do, I'll definitely tag you guys. I'll tag the link of this video to the second one, to the second video, so that you can actually see from the first video to the second video, or rather the first book and then the second book, so that you get to understand the book. And that's it for me today. I hope you guys are keeping safe. You're washing your hands, you're sanitizing, you're practicing social distancing, because the coronavirus, it did not stay in 2020, it's definitely in 2021. So by all means, guys, thank you so much for watching this video, and I'm super excited for what's coming. You know, like what I said, I have so many books in store for you. And if you're an African author and you'd like me to review your book, by all means, please contact me. I'll leave my email address below and I'll review your book. I'm open to reading books by African authors. Obviously, I'm quite a slow reader because I need to like really fathom and fully dissect the book. So it might take me time, but I'll definitely review your book. If not this year, next year, but I'll definitely do. So until next time, you guys.